Are we having a drink?
We are going to have a drink. You're impatient, aren't you?
I thought you poured the drink first.
I am. So listen,
Okay.
first of all, welcome to Over a Drink.
Thank you.
It was great to have you.
Thank you.
And we are here, where are we? This is what gallery is this?
Lehigh University Art Gallery.
I didn't know what the rules were at the art gallery.
I don't know what the rules are.
So, and I figured it was Sunday, so I have some communion wine in here. If we have a little communion
Thank you,
wine
Jesus.
from the flag. Or we could go the other route and I brought these little things
brought
and
the
we can make some tea.
gourds. I'd rather have the wine, the communion
All
wine.
right, then we're going with the communion wine. I'm down with that. Welcome to Over a Drink.
Thank you.
So what we do here is we talk about you, what you do, why you do it, whatever you think, whatever you like, until the drink is gone.
Fantastic.
So if you have a lot to say, you talk fast. You don't have a lot to say, you drink fast. It's real simple. Who is Dr. Maia Green?
Dr. Maia Green, oh geez, I've been in the making and I'm still in the making. Graduated from Cedar Crest College in Allentown, 2002. Left Cedar Crest, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I went out there in the field, I tried to get jobs, couldn't get any jobs, decided, oh, I better go back to grad school. And there was a textbook on developmental biology that they had at Cedar Crest.
Okay.
And I was such a nerd, like I would read my textbooks for fun, right? So I was like, oh. But it was interesting stuff, right? It was all about,
reading my textbook.
ended up going to Thomas Jefferson University for my master's degree, and that was in developmental biology and teratology. Teratology
Thank you.
is
Thank you.
the Latin terra means monsters, and
So you study monsters?
tology is the study of. So teratology is the study of monsters, which is the study of birth defects. So they
Hold
called,
on. How do we get from monsters to birth defects?
because a long, long time ago, if a child came out with a birth defect, they called them a monster. So you'll see a lot of people who have birth defects in circuses, or
So they were like, that's where your sideshows came from.
those were the sideshows, right? But they were considered monsters because they had birth defects. So it was called teratology. So I'm actually a teratologist.
So how old is the
study of
science?
monsters.
Like, when did they coin the phrase, do you know? Or,
Like, I don't remember.
like before the sideshow?
Yeah, oh, of course, yes, yes. At Jefferson, my specific birth defect was fetal alcohol syndrome, actually.
Good thing with our babies.
Right. Do not drink alcohol if you are pregnant,
And we're not pregnant.
or are planning on becoming pregnant.
I should be okay.
And my mentor said, I'm leaving Jefferson and I'm going to the University of Louisville, to the Birth Defect Center. Will you come with me and help me start my lab?
Okay.
And I said, where's Kentucky? Like, I had no idea where Kentucky was on the map.
When you were at Jefferson, didn't you work on a fetal alcohol syndrome medicine with him? And you were published, like, as an undergrad. Now, I don't know what that means, but it was like, I remember telling this to a doctor who I worked with, and he was like, Mike, that's a big deal.
If you have fetal alcohol syndrome, you have specific malformations with the child. We were trying to understand what molecular mechanisms or what genetics were changing, that alcohol was changing to disrupt the normal development of the face.
Did y'all figure it out?
Yeah, so the embryo develops during a very susceptible window, and if you perturb or harm the fetus during, first trimester or, maybe the third trimester, depending, you are interrupting the normal metabolic process of what's going on in the embryo.
Okay.
Jury is still out, so there are still laboratories trying to understand different other mechanisms.
Now, did
for
y'all
it,
just
but-
study alcohol, or did you study like illicit drugs and so on and so forth. I was in a police station at work, right? I don't know what you think.
At work.
Like, where's this going, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I was at work, right?
I was there once too.
I was at work, right? I was in the police station, and I'm flipping through the most wanted photos. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, yo, all these guys are like 17, 18, 20, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, when I was 17, like, I didn't know people who were on the police most wanted. I'm talking to my cousin about this one day, and he says, Mike, those are crack babies, and they're all crazy, right? And I was looked at him, I was like, what? He said, listen, man, I don't take pride in it, but when I was in the street, I sold crack to a lot of pregnant women. And this is the result. He said it wasn't that they, you know, their issues as much as it is the effects that I believe anyway,
Right.
the drugs had on the babies that they gave birth to. And now we're seeing the results of it 20 years later, 15 years later, because the way that it affected their brains and their developments and the things that we're seeing in society is a result of that. Now, I know that might be a stretch because neither one of us have a PhD.
No, it's not a stretch. When I was in Kentucky, I was volunteering for the Spina Bifida Foundation. So we would go out to the different fairs and stuff and give out vitamins, multivitamins, and we would target for a young population of women who are of fertile age for reproduction. It was nothing for women to be pregnant and to smoke marijuana or smoke cigarettes. Our laboratory also looked at smoking effects on fetal development, and it was really sad. If you are depressed or you are taking drugs, you know, you're not thinking about, you're not even in the right mind if you're
Correct.
having sex, right? Under those kinds of conditions. And you don't even know that you're pregnant for, you know, half the time. You're 2 months pregnant sometimes before you even recognize or find out. It's really important that the clinicians have these conversations with patients as well. And if you have a question, you need to be proactive in initiating that conversation with your clinician.
I probably shouldn't, but I put full faith in my doctor.
Yeah.
I put like, and the doctor's like, you have any questions? Nah, man. I am assuming you wouldn't suggest it if you thought it would hurt me. I'm sure that's the wrong approach. But at the same time, a lot of times you don't even know when he says you have a question, you don't even know if there is a question.
Right, especially if they're giving you information that you are completely shocked about,
Yes,
right? Like,
correct.
And you can't even think straight in that
Correct.
moment,
and you're like,
right?
dude, like, I didn't even know this was an issue in my life. Now you're asking me if I have any questions about it.
Right.
This was the day that I realized you're a big deal. Like, you know, I've known you a long time, right? And my whole life, you've just been Maya.
Yeah.
There's Maya. And when I came in and you were answering these questions for, I guess what's the equivalent
Japan.
of, what is the FDA or the CDC? Japan's equivalent.
To the FDA, yeah.
To the FDA. And you're answering these questions and I'm like, you are the person that if you convince these people, your answers convince these people that this drug is okay, then this drug goes on the market in that country. Like when that sunk in for me, I was like, yo, Maya's a big deal. Like, I don't know if everybody around Maya knows she's a big deal. Like, you guys.
I don't feel that way.
Like, you guys don't realize how big of a deal this person is that we hanging out with, and we have a drink with, and we eat food with. But like, yo, man, like she is the guy. You want your drug
Or
on
gal.
sale, or girl,
Yeah.
excuse me. If you want your drug on sale in this country, it's got to go through mine. And that blew my mind. Like, I was so amazed at that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
And that drug's on the market too. I was having kind of an epiphany in that moment when you walked in, because the way I was writing the pregnancy label or answering those questions, I all of a sudden was like channeling different cohorts of women, right? What if I was a woman who had this disease but really felt that it was my responsibility to have a child, and I don't care that if I have this disease, I'm still going to try to get pregnant and have this child. Or what if I was a woman who was raped and didn't know that I was or didn't know I was pregnant, okay? Or what if I was someone who had this disease, got pregnant, and wanted to abort the child? And in that moment when you walked into the office and I was sitting at the desk channeling, what would I do if this was me in all of these different scenarios? And I thought to myself, men don't think about these things.
I was just about to say that.
Men do not think about these things when they, I'm not saying all men,
no,
but coming from a woman's perspective,
correct.
and
it's not a first thought for us. It's an afterthought.
Right.
Because it doesn't affect us in that manner. It just, so even the smartest, the most well-intended male, it doesn't affect him.
right. Talking to young women and letting people know how important it is to take care of their reproductive health and to be proactive about it. And it's never too early.
What's your view on the amount of women of color, and so forth in the sciences?
Well, just to give you an idea, when I was at University of Louisville for Black History Month, put this case display together for the Health Science Center library. And so what we did was we went through each one of the graduate student organizations and listed out all of the Black students who have graduated from the organization. And in my organization, which was biochemistry and molecular biology, the PhD grad student organization, I think I was number 8.
What year was this?
This was 2008 when we did that exercise. And
how old is the university?
I have no idea. Look on their label, 17 something, I think, University of Louisville.
We look at the sciences and we know these are well-paying jobs. These are, life-sustaining, family-sustaining careers.
Extremely rewarding.
Extremely rewarding. But for whatever reason,
I'll tell you the reason. It's this mentality that I could never pass an MCAT exam. I could never get into University of Pennsylvania. Who am I? I am just, a kid. I get so-so grades. I'm not really great at anything. I mean, I enjoyed science and I was actually really good at science, but I always dummied. As a woman, you kind of dummy down how bright and intelligent you are. And we would go out to high schools in Louisville and we would say, you know what? Did you know that if you went to the graduate student program at Louisville, it would be paid for? Do you know that? Do you know that when you get a PhD, for the most part, in the sciences, you go into someone's laboratory with grants, or you can write your own grant to the government, and you get paid to be a PhD student. The thought of being a doctor and not having to pay to become a doctor,
genius.
It's that one person and the importance of having a mentor that gives you that confidence to go out and do things that you never thought you could achieve. We go above and beyond, right? We master what our core job is so that we can go out and play.
There you go. Well, listen, because this thing, we keep running out, Maya, but my drink is going anyway.
So is mine.
Look at that, perfect
French.
timing.
Thank you to the French.
Thank you to the French. Maya, thank you for your time, man.
Thanks,
I really
Mike.
enjoyed rapping with you.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
anytime.
You're like one of the smartest people I know, dude.
I'm really
And
not.
I know you keep saying you're not that smart. But listen, man.
But
that's the beauty of it. You know what you know, and you share what you know, and you're advancing society, man. Like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal, man. I'm taking pictures for like everybody.